Make sure please that you get your questions in for the Dream Team panel assembled here tonight, who I'll introduce to you one by one in just a moment. Just making sure we are live on YouTube, where you will see Duarte's excellent taxation webinar from Sunday. Okay, yes, so we're live over there on YouTube. That's good news, and good to see you tonight, everybody. Thank you for many of you for coming back after the taxation webinar. To be fair, we did need a little bit of a lie down and a power snooze after the taxation. It's incredibly complex information, and Duarte did a fantastic job of decoding it for us. You can review and watch it again on Sunday evening. So let's get on with tonight's Dream Team session and introduce Carolina Cunha from EI, Asesoría Migratoria. How are you, Carolina, representing EI tonight?
Well, hello, I am fine. And you, Carl, how are you feeling today?
Well, since you gave me, I think you've given me a little bit of a pep talk, basically, to not be so depressing about the winter. And so you've helped me a great deal already this year. I was going that downhill fast with that, and I was saying, I'm acclimatized now as a Brit. Winter in Portugal was, yay, it's like summer in England. But after a few years, that wears off, sadly. I have got my shorts on today. I'm holding out, but you probably didn't need to know that. What's going on in the world of migration, Carolina?
Well, everything is moving slowly, but we are feeling something, at least something happening. IMA has been doing task forces, and they have at least began something regarding the expression of interest, and as well some other task forces, but we are still watching it getting started, like slowly but sturdy. I believe we will have more news as we go, as the weeks pass, and we see what they are actually doing, because sometimes the plan and the reality, they take a little time to match. So
Yes.
let's see. But I'm hopeful. September is a month of new beginnings.
Yes.
And I'm on that chapter as well. So well, I'm on a positive note.
Very good. So reflecting, I think what Gilda was saying and feeling last week, that there does seem to be a change in the air and feeling a little bit more positive around IMA and those processes.
Yeah.
Right, good news. And I don't know if it came up in this meeting last week, but there are volunteers working with IMA. Is that right? Did I hear that? And is it the Bomberos who are helping out with a bit of firefighting of a different kind at IMA? Is that right?
Yeah, I got that idea as well. But
Oh,
when they announced that they were doing the task force, people volunteered, and we ourselves, we volunteered as well.
yes, I
But
remember. Yeah, that's right. But Gilda said you didn't get the call.
yeah, we didn't. I guess they chose, I don't know if they chose unbiased parties. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, they are, well, the clerks at CEF, not CEF, I'm sorry, they were striking on the overtime.
Yes.
So probably if IMA gets volunteers, they don't have to pay overtime to the workers. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
But
that.
yeah, but that's also could cause quite an awkward atmosphere on site as well. So hopefully that goes well. And the Bomberos are amazing. So I imagine they can turn their hand. What do? You get your visa help, and then you give a contribution to your local Bomberos. Maybe that's not a bad plan, is it? Not a bad plan at all.
It isn't. Well, when you do your taxes in Portugal, at
Yes.
the end of your taxes, you can put an institution to donate 0.5, I think. And my cousin always puts the Bombeiros, always, because he's like the biggest fan of the Bombeiros.
Yeah.
For non-Portuguese speakers, it means firefighters.
Yes.
And yeah, you can donate to them. So yes, on the taxes.
Yes, and I mean it's not just firefighters. They're an incredible influence and part of this society. So there's a lot to learn. Now is not the time, but maybe we will go into that. We could use it as our cultural question, possibly. But there's still the matter of pineapples to be discussed as well. So we'll come back to the cultural question. Thank you very much for that heads up there, Carolina, about the world of visas there. Let's go to Daniel, just down the corridor. No, not anymore, but metaphorically just down the corridor. How are you doing, Daniel? How's the world of law?
I'm quite all right, Carl. Thank you for asking. The world of law, well, We haven't had a lot of developments because the parliament was in recess. But in terms of my practice, we still see a lot of people buying houses in Portugal. So the real estate department in my law firm is still strong. The nationality department is still strong as well. A lot of people requesting the Portuguese nationality, either via time of residency or ancestry. So times have been good. August was actually a good month. It's funny because it's really usually slow in Portugal in August for everything, but usually one of our busiest months is August. It's something difficult to explain. I need to dig in and try to perceive the reasons for that, because August is one of our best months. Probably people come to Portugal and try to get their situations resolved in the month of August, and that's probably one of the reasons. But I'd like to perceive more about what is the thing about August, that everyone is feeling with less work, and we are feeling all over the place with the 8 month of the year. So
I'm sure it's a
it is
lot to
what
do
it
with you
is.
being there, isn't it? And I saw a Portuguese friend who was responding to nobody works in Portugal in August. It's like, nobody? How very dare you? Some of us do, and it's true, isn't it? And the ones who do, I think, probably do feel quite overwhelmed.
I do love working in August because there's no traffic at all. You can drive anywhere and everywhere in Lisbon, and you'll have a place to park. You're not stuck in traffic. In the last few days, well, people got back to their works, and especially the kids started school. So you see a big difference in this week in Lisbon with the traffic, because, well, it's back to business, back to normality.
Mm.
That's why I do love August. Everyone is on holidays. I'm working, and I can get around fast. So yeah, I'm all up for working in August, no doubt about
Same with Gilda and Carolina as well, of course,
it.
who enjoy working in August when nobody.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say nobody, but fewer other people are in this month. But yeah, if you can help Daniel with that, why he's so busy, it's also a lot to do with you being so good at what you do, Daniel. I imagine that comes into it as well. So for the time being,
Thank you.
thanks, Daniel. Any questions about the law? You know where to find Daniel this evening between now and 10 o'clock. Nunu, World of Insurance, how are you this evening?
Hello, good evening, everyone. Pretty well, thank you. And regarding news of insurance that you ask every Thursday, not big news, but I always try to add value to your adventure in Portugal.
Thank
So
you.
today, the Portuguese authorities or on the news, they announced that the public debt is below 100%. Finally, they reached 96%. Even though I think that this was due to, or this is a consequence of the non-investment on key areas of the society, like health and
Right.
education, but the numbers reach as lower interest rates and so on and so on. So it's a good indicator. Regarding insurance, and this I'm talking about this because it's something that you strange. So when we are handling to a car insurance with a car insurance policy to an imported car, there are it's not a easy and a quick process to insure the own damages. The liability is pretty easy, but the own damages is not, and we need to understand why. So maybe 15 years ago, insurers start handling with a lot of claims, and they only wake up when some guys are got after the accidents, they are got into the car with bike helmet and gloves, and this is because what they are doing is they are importing cars from Germany or Belgium at a low value, and they are insuring to the Portuguese and the normal value. So, and when they just need to smash the cars
Yes.
to have pretty easy money. So,
a
and this is
yes, okay.
yeah, and this is why insurers are so cautious about that. So, if you are thinking on buying an imported car, no problem at all with that.
Yeah.
But your expectation must be have the liability insurance policy right away. But the own damages, this will take like a week, maybe less, but expect for a week. Okay.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. That's something we'd never have thought of on our own, I don't
Yeah.
suppose, and we wouldn't know the backstory there. So yeah, human beings are so ingenious in a way, even if they are a bit naughty sometimes as well. But we've got Daniel for that. Okay. Thank you, Nuno, for that insight into what's going on. Let's go to Pedro Franco now. How are you this evening, Pedro?
Hello, quite good, thank you, Carl.
Excellent.
Well, first of all, I don't like to work in August, so let's make it clear. I'm not like Danielle and Carolina.
Yes.
I like to rest when other people are resting, but and not much goes on when in August regarding taxation. So it's all the confusion has been back there in July and June and May.
Yes.
So August is a quiet month for me to take some rest.
Right, and you're getting back into the swing of things now. So what's on your agenda? What have you come back to?
Yeah, right now is I think first of all it's the last months that one has to subscribe to try to get the NHR if people are still in that category, if they can apply. So people who have been who had any kind of enrollment with visas and or that bought a house last year or rented a house, they can still apply for the NHR. So we have still some requests that we are evaluating with incoming people if it makes sense for them to apply. And usually it does make a lot of sense. So this is what's on top of my agenda right now is the last NHR requests.
It's a historic moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
We will look back and remember these times, Pedro.
Yes.
Those last few people. Maybe they can get
And
T-shirts and mugs made up.
Just as a side note, if maybe some people are not sure if they want to do the move to Portugal, but they can do the move and ask for the NHR and wait for some time, and then they can go back to their country and they can return later on.
Yes.
Because this is possible.
If it was valid for them, if they satisfied those conditions previously, they can.
Yes, it will not. The NHR will not expire. So it's valid for 10 years.
Okay.
So even if people are not sure to come in 2024 or they just want to come in 2026, it might be a good strategy. Of course, we have to evaluate this, but
yes, yeah. Well, you can be found, of course, in the business director of Expats Portugal, and it's a bit of a taxation evening tonight. Then, so if you have any questions about taxation here in Portugal, pop them into the chat, and we'll put them to Pedro tonight. Thank you for being here. And much appreciated, Pedro. Last but certainly not least, Sarah Davey also here from Spartan FX this evening. Good evening to you, Sarah.
Hello, good evening.
How are you this evening? Tudo bem?
I'm good. Well, I come to you now as a Portuguese resident. Well, I'm still waiting for the permit to come in the post, but my AIM appointment was successful.
Well, that's why I said tudo bem to you. And it must be hilarious for the Portuguese people here to see us two Brits talking Portuguese to each other. We apologise in advance about that. So how are you and how's the world of FX?
Good. I mean, I was thinking about this. I mean, we talk constantly about whether the ECB cut interest rates today. We talk about whether the Fed are going to do it. We look at inflation data and it's sort of a little bit backwards and forwards. You know, they're talking about how in the US that actually inflation might not be coming down as quickly as they would like. So whether they be cutting interest rates necessarily because of that, and they may need to increase them. So we're a little bit backwards and forwards in those sort of things. And really depends on your situation, your timeframes. If it's not something you're looking to do in the short term, you could be 6 months, 12 months on your road and your journey to Portugal. What does it look like in 12 months' time? So I think the key thing is that what we do is we kind of look at it in a holistic way, and as far as, you know, what's your situation? What money have you got available? What are your timeframes? If you look at the exchange rates right now in a small sort of 1 month, 6 months, we look at it in sort of 5 years. Looking back, it's still relatively good levels. the thing that we focus with customers is that actually, if you don't leave it to the last minute, you do have more options available to you. So say, for example, you want to buy a property, or you're putting down rental money, you're sending some savings across. Say you left it to the last minute, you're doing it this week, you have no control. You're just taking the exchange rates that are this week. Whereas what we're giving people are slightly more options, looking at in further in advance, that might save you money. It could be a few hundred US dollars, a few thousand US dollars. What's the difference that makes? If you're buying property on a larger amount, suddenly you budget and you've got some spare money for a car, all of a sudden the exchange rate moves, your house is more expensive, you don't have that money to buy a car anymore. That's sort of the reality of where we see the exchange rates moving. And the other thing that we see a lot of, and what we're trying to help with, is timing of the process of moving your money. We have clients that, have come to us and they're in a difficult position because they need to make a deadline, but they're using their bank or they've used an online provider, and the money's been held up by a week or 10 days, maybe due to compliance issues, not being able to speak to somebody, and they've missed their deadline. So again, giving yourself more time may make this whole process much easier and less stressful for you.
So sooner rather than later. And I think it's fair to say, isn't it, there are certain parts of the migration journey that are more attractive than others, aren't there? It's like, yay, I want to go on a scouting trip and go and visit Portugal. This is all good fun. And then there's a taxation. No disrespect to you, Petro, but there are the awkward, difficult parts, aren't there? They're like, I know I've got to face it at some point, but not today necessarily. And I think currency can come into that, can't it? It might feel like it's a bit of a difficult one. However, if people do bite the bullet and get in touch, you'll find that if they ring Spartan, Spartan don't bite. And in fact, many people end up on first name terms with some great friends on the other end of the phone in the currency world, right?
Absolutely. I think it's something that does get overlooked, because I understand personally for myself that the key things is getting your visa, but you can't discount the money side of things, whether that be tax or moving your money. And I would say that, I couldn't have done this journey without Expats Portugal and the experts on the team. I mean, I would definitely give praise to, EI, having somebody go to your AIMA appointment with you, a lawyer that speaks Portuguese, it was just so much less stress, and wonderful.
Yes, yeah, and I glossed over a little bit your news, of course. Successful residency. Grace is saying, congratulations, Sarah. That's terrific news. Well done. Did you want to add anything about that? Because you come, I guess, in two capacities here, don't you? With Spartan FX, of course, from where we know you from the last few years, and of course, as a Brit turned Portuguese resident. And do you mind speaking about that if people have questions?
No, absolutely. I mean, as I said, I paid for help because some people think they can do it themselves, or maybe they can, but I really wanted to move here. I wanted to make sure that I got my visa. I didn't want to do anything wrong, and there is a lot of paperwork and things have to be done in Portuguese, and if you don't have the right things, I mean, it's a bit of a tick box. If this is not quite right, they could reject that, and you just don't want that stress at the end of the day. I got obviously the win insurance for the travel insurance because I do have it with my bank, but I couldn't get the documentation that I needed to provide the proof. So I used Nuno to get that. Then I had my AIM appointment and then got the health insurance for that. And as I said, EI were great with the support and just having somebody there to make sure all the documents were correct. They were in Portuguese that I couldn't read. We had an appointment where they were they probably could speak a little bit of English, but it was all in Portuguese. And just having the support of somebody there on the day as well, it's valuable.
And it's the same with currency, isn't it? To have someone who understands that world and decode it and explain it to you in everyday words, and maybe pictures sometimes as well. Or you could get a car with what you save. Those sort of things mean something to people, don't they? Possibly. I'm not saying you're going to, but it has worked for some people that way, isn't it? And that's how your team decode this world for other people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more than capable of doing it myself, but Steve was my dealer and I'd ring him up and get it to do it for me because I had so much at the time, and now going on, I was moving house, I was moving country, I was trying to do the visa, trying to do this, trying to settle, make friends, everything. There's just so much to do. It was just so much easier picking up the phone and making sure it was done correctly.
Very good. So if you want to be able to drop that into a conversation, Steve is my dealer. You know what to do. Get in touch with Spartan Effects, and the other gentlemen are available there as well. Cheers, Sarah, for the time being. Any questions about currency? You know where Sarah is tonight. Again, till 10 o'clock this evening. I just spent 3 days in Figueira da Foz, and it was really cold, says Debbie, coming to my aid and confirming that it is now winter in Portugal. And first question then for Carolina. If my golden visa was approved, this is from Alex, but I still do not have an IMA appointment, can I still apply and get the NHR given that I bought the property in 2022 and obviously applied for residency right after that? That might be one for you, Carolina, or Daniel, or Pedro this evening, but I think you're all over it, Carolina already.
Yes, so my answer would be yes. With the property buying alone before October 31st, 2023, he qualifies. And then by having a visa is much, technically it's not mandatory, but it is helpful within the public services. So I would say it's very feasible. Just be aware that it needs to be done before the end of the year. And yeah, any day now he can do it.
Okay, Alex, thank you, Carolina, for answering that. And great question, Alex, to open things this evening for us with questions. Get the questions in on the chat. And good evening if you're over on YouTube as well. Thanks for tuning in over there. From another Alex, I think this evening, I recall it being said that when I get the D7, I can request a luggage certificate. Does it mean that I can send our stuff to Portugal before securing the actual residency card from IMA? We could store it in our apartment while waiting for the residency card. Otherwise, we would need to fly back just to ship the household goods. So in your experience of working in such instances, what's your answer for Alex on this luggage certificate situation?
Yeah, so for the luggage certificate, you only need to have the visa and on your Portuguese NIF, your address there to be already the Portuguese one.
Yep.
If you have those two things, you can already arrange with the embassy to get the luggage certificate issued, and just keep in mind that it will be valid for 1 year. So when you get it, you need to start working on it.
Yes.
And yeah, much before getting the residence permit. Yes, it's possible.
Very good. Okay, there you go. Thanks, Carolina, for that. Absolutely lovely in the Alentejo, says Jill. Swam in the pool this afternoon. That sounds great, doesn't it, in the Alentejo? Also, and I hear the wine's quite good there as well. Also, the movers delivered the contents of my container today. I've had my, imagine that, you're in the pool on a massive container. Okay. Better get out and deal with this. I've had my IMA appointment, but I don't have my card yet. So yes, there are paperwork hurdles to jump through, but you can send your stuff. Okay, that's Jill helping Alex there. Carolina might be able to address the particulars. She definitely can do that. Just how much baggage do you need? Hold on, let me start that again. Thanks, Debbie, for the question. Just how much baggage do you bring to need a baggage certificate? Oh, there you go. I did not leave much behind. I'll be going back for it over the winter once I get my residency, but maybe just 4 to 6 suitcases. Need Debbie be concerned about luggage or baggage? And the difference, of course, is luggage is what you bring with you. Baggage is the emotional stuff. And we don't have a psychotherapist on the panel this evening, although we could probably look into it. So just stick with luggage and not baggage. 4 to 6 suitcases, should that be a problem for Debbie?
No, that is not a problem. For a luggage certificate is when people want to bring containers with stuff like furniture and like their lifelong memories of physical stuff. So if you can fit your things into suitcases, you're fine. You can bring them with you on the plane. But for bigger stuff to justify, I think it's a container that it is called, those metal things that go on the boat, right? Is that the correct name?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, for that, when you are dispatching it and then arriving in Portugal, you would need to show the documentation so that you don't pay taxes on your stuff, like if you were to be buying it. So you show like, oh, it's already mine. So they don't recharge you for the stuff that it's already yours.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And I guess that's the only concern. And if you do have 4 to 6 suitcases coming through,
just one thing to add to that,
yeah, go on,
Colin. Don't bring 4 or 5 new laptops.
Yeah,
stuff
right.
like that.
Yeah.
It needs to be used and it needs to have signs of being used. So if you have 5 new brand new iPhones in the suitcase, well, you may be in trouble because the Portuguese tax authorities may think that you are trying to sell those items later on and not pay VAT in Portugal. But as long as it's used stuff, you'll be in the clear with those 6 bags. And your normal laptop, as long as it has signs of being used and it's not in the where's Carl? Oh, you're still there. Things
I'm
moved
still
on. Sorry. As long as things do look like they're used, it's all right to bring them.
Very good. Thanks for adding that, Daniel. Thanks, Carolina, as well. Jerry, you wanted to add something, I think, as well to that.
Yes, just to add to that anyone bringing anything that might be an expensive item, for example, I was talking to someone the other day who wants to bring an expensive guitar. I would recommend that if you're bringing an expensive item as luggage, that you try and bring the proof of purchase. That would be just in case. It's worth having the proof of purchase with you as you go through customs.
Very good, and it helps get into the habit, doesn't it, of your keeping paperwork here in Portugal as well. Your first receipt that you'll be bringing into the country there to prove that you've had it for a little while. Your expensive guitar. Do I take from that, Jerry, that the Expats Portugal band is coming together nicely then?
Yes, that was some guy called Mick Jagger, I think he said his name
Oh,
was.
excellent.
So
okay,
he's just registered as a premium member, so I'm waiting to hear from him now.
Under what, like Rolling Stone is his forum name?
So yes, something he said something about stones or rocks or something, and yeah.
Very good.
Oh, and he wanted to know if Steve could be his dealer as well.
Of course he did. Right. Brilliant. Let's go back to the chat and the questions then. Thank you very much, Jerry, for adding that as well. Greetings from Ohio, from Tom, where the men are men and the house cats are scared. Don't really know what to say about that, so I'll move on. Peder, boa noite. Portugal, it's been a beautiful day here in Wales, but with a strong and cold wind from the Arctic. We've had a bit of that as well, actually. Possibly time already for warm woolies. What happened to that Indian summer? Well, hold on a minute. We still might have that. It's also called a San Martino summer here in Portugal. I think I'm holding out for that. You're lucky, and you lot in Portugal who are still wearing shorts. Okay, I'll count my blessings. Thank you very much. And Donna proposes that we make the pineapple the official fruit of expats for making friends and laughing. It seems to be working so far. And I'll tell you, I bought this just to explain. I took it to the last webinar, and it's the right way up. It isn't upside down. And it's an Azorian ananas. It's absolutely fragrant in the studio here tonight. It's wonderful. Thoroughly recommend it. And I might ask the panel what their favorite. I mean, it's a fruity time of year, and I don't mean in the relationship sense or being in Mercadona. I mean, this is a great time in Portugal for buying fruit in a supermarket. It's harvest time, so I might come back to the panel for their favorite fruits as our panel cultural question tonight. And Sarah might already be into buying fruit at a supermarket and having some favorites already as well. Thank you, Donna, for that suggestion. The cockerel or the pineapple? Maybe both. A cockerel sitting on a pineapple, perhaps. Kathy, hola, boa noite, all from Kathy. Good to see you, Kathy. And Kazuo, this is probably for you because it starts with the letters IMA, the 4 letters. IMA started to accept for you, Carolina, visits with appointment, inverted commas, right? I can't find any page such as making appointments on the website. I am waiting for a renewal. Can I wait until auto renewal becomes available on CEF website, formerly CEF, or should I make an appointment to visit IMA? Can you help with that? I mean, you were saying that things are looking favorable. Are they that favorable for Kazuo there?
I don't think the task force is for renewals, but that has been working not the worst, let's say. And okay. I don't know how long, how far away he is from his permit to end, but normally a couple months prior, he's able to, on the portal, to like fulfill the clicks for the online renewal. And if that does not allow, he will need to book an in-person renewal. So depending on where he is at.
Okay, very good. A little bit of help there from Carolina. Thanks for pointing Kazuo in the right direction with that. Akash, I think you've dealt with that, haven't you? A little bit of
Yes.
housekeeping behind the scenes there. That's great. Thanks for doing that, Carolina, as well. Derek, hi everyone from Linda and Derek in Lagos. Great Carl, great article in the Portuguese news today. Thank you. That's my weekly resident article. Thank you very much for that. And those congratulations, of course, to you, Sarah, as well this evening. Yes, such a relief. And Grace saying, yes, I remember the moments just after the appointment. It felt like I could breathe again. Amazing, isn't it? So that really does go to show how it's great to have some help, some professional support so that you can breathe again after the... Are they trained first aiders as well as lawyers, I wonder? I felt like I could breathe again. And then when we found the envelopes in our box, it was pure joy. What a lovely moment there. If that's happened to you recently, do let us know in the chat and we'll celebrate with you over again here tonight. Debbie, obrigado from, to you, Carolina, from Debbie in Coimbra tonight, thanking you. And at what point, Rahan is asking, does the baggage certificate 12-month window start? Thank you. Is it when you register?
No, technically it's when you fix yourself in Portugal. But the way that they have to know that is when you change your address in your NIF. So when you become a Portuguese tax resident, that is the main point that they use to pinpoint a date. So technically a year from that.
Okay, Rahan, thank you, Carolina. That's for you, Rahan. And yeah, Debbie's not going to be bringing 5 laptops in by the sound of it. And thanks you, Daniel, as well this evening. And Jill was swimming to recover from the container delivery and wasn't in the pool when it arrived. Okay, I totally get that. Yeah, not too bad as compensation for a hard day of labor, you say, Daniel, as well. Yeah, imagine that. All those things that you forgot you packed, you find again in the container. And think, do we really need this? Well, we got it now anyway. Jen has a question. After my husband retires next year, I think this is for you, Carolina. After my husband retires next year, he will receive a deferred compensation salary that's taxed as regular income in the USA for 2 years. Since he still is receiving a salary, do we qualify for a D7 visa or should we look at a digital nomad visa? Great question, Jen. That came up in the earlier webinar and I think it's better put to you, Carolina.
Well, I suggest showing me the proper paperwork because I would, even though it's taxed as a salary, with its naming, it could be in a gray area, which in this case, I believe it would be arguable that your husband is receiving a money that he's not directly working towards. So I think it's manageable, but I would need to see the proper documents to see if there's wiggle room there. If it's point blank salary and taxed as salary, everything says salary, not really.
Not passive, is it? Yeah.
But she's putting on quotes salary, and so probably it's not actually those words there. So I invite her to send me an email with if she already has like the letter or at least something, so I can take a look. Probably on her tax return, it will, since it is taxed as a regular salary, probably will appear. It will depend. Even though the percentage could be of active income, it could be categorized on a different bracket. So
yeah, because it isn't actually a salary, is it? It's a kind of benefit in a way. It's a retirement benefit. So I guess you need to see the wording so that you can make the case for that, Carolina, when it comes to it, or should it come to it. So there you go. Get in touch with Jen, if you will, to just to make sure that we've got the detail right on that and that the case can be put so that it is D7 and passive, and if not, then you can come up with another option, right, Carolina, to deal with the wording and the nature of that payment. Azorian pineapple was, when I was there in the Azores, was like candy. I am so looking forward to this. I think I'll have that with me glass of wine after the Dream Team session tonight. Hi, for Pedro from Elizabeth. If I become a Portuguese tax resident in September 24, that's about now, and apply for the old NHR, I should qualify. Does this mean that all my global income earned for the entire year is taxable, even if I was not in the country for more than 182 days? Yeah, that interesting grey area, Pedro. How is that dealt with?
Yes. So first of all, in the year 2024, you will only be taxed from the moment that you become resident in Portugal. Right. So if you become resident in September, you will file a partial income tax return from September till December. And many people ask, how do I become resident? If you choose to declare yourself resident, you don't have to wait for the 183 days rule. So you can be resident from day one because you rent a house, or you own a house, and you choose to declare yourself resident. Okay, you can do that.
Okay.
To add to this, so after September, you will be subject to Portuguese taxation, but because you are NHR, we have to see, depending on the income streams that you have, that because some of them may not pay taxes in Portugal. For example, pensions. When you withdraw all your money as a lump sum, they can be exempt in Portugal under certain conditions, or you can pay only 10%. Just to name one example.
Okay.
So, rental income, for example, if you have rental income from your source country, it is exempt in Portugal because you are an HR. So it will depend on the nature of your income streams.
So get in touch with you to discuss that. Elizabeth, yeah, get in touch with Pedro. You can find him in the Expats Portugal Business Directory, of course. Thanks for that answer, Pedro. Is that everything that you want to say on that?
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, and thanks for reaching out in the chat as well, which is what happens here. The Dream Team often talk to people in the chat as well as answer questions on screen. That's why it's a good idea to be here as a premium member of Expats Portugal, and you can do that on the homepage, expatsportugal.com. And it's nice to see somebody signing up while we're live on air. Let us know if you do that. If you're making the transition from YouTube to Zoom with us tonight, let us know. And to tag onto Jerry's comments about a certain Mr. Jagger. If you have valuable musical instruments that you love, don't give them up and buy new in Portugal. There's very limited access to quality instruments in Portugal. That's interesting, at least as far as Charlie, my husband, and I have found so far. Maybe you need to get to know a few more local musicians with that. What a lovely thing. What a lovely project to have as well. But thanks for that, Grace. Very helpful there. And I was glad. Oh, the musicians are talking to each other now in the chat. Now we're in trouble. I was glad I brought my Carla ukulele with me from the USA. It's getting very specialist in the chat. I have a Taylor, says Don. We've definitely a Fender and some rare congas, and I have to buy an extra seat on the plane for my instrument. We've definitely got a band here, Jerry. We are getting the band back together. It's a bit like the Blues Brothers, but kind of not quite. But yes, I'm looking forward to the music that these very talented people will be making, and the cocktails as well. Pineapple and wine, says La Ronda. I've got a sugar rush just thinking about that combo. Then again, I'm sensitive to sugar. Okay, I have to eat it all myself tonight, La Ronda. Thanks for all these questions on Zoom. Richard, when handing in my D7 visa to the consulate here in Toronto, another one for you, Carolina, do I need to include a hard copy of my condo lease in Portugal, or would an electronic version be okay? Excellent question. With the rental agreements, the leases, do they need to be hard copy, or does it vary from various consulate to consulate whether they need to be hard copy or electronic?
Well, when consulates demand that you go there physically and deliver the whole process, the whole physical process, you need to print everything. In this case, the hard copy is necessary. Everything printed, even if it's a simple copy, just like you have your own signed version and the landlord has its own signed version, just print the latest one with both signatures and they accept it. Also include the registration of the rental agreement in the tax office because they also demand that.
Very good. Okay, thanks. Brilliant answer. There you go, Richard. If you've got anything else for us, do let us know. And we'll stay with you, Carolina. Alex, is there a chance I can drop a direct email to Carolina? Well, yes, because you've already done that in the chat there. That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Carolina, for doing that. A quickie over on YouTube then. Please keep the questions coming in the chat. We have the Dream Team here every Thursday night at 9 o'clock, between 9 and 10. So make sure you get the best value from being here over on Zoom, and we'll put all the questions you have to the Dream Team to them this evening. Over on YouTube for you, Sarah. Does Spartan FX service other EU countries? And when will we be launching Expats France? Come back to you, Jerry, on that in just a moment. So, Sarah, first of all, can you deal, if it's not for Portugal, can you still help people?
Absolutely. So we transfer money around the world. Obviously, at the moment, we're focusing obviously a lot on Americans moving to Portugal, but we have clients that are in the UK, we're in Australia, Canada, Switzerland, around the world, but also move to other parts of Europe, not just Portugal, Spain, France, Italy, anywhere that they want to move to.
Excellent. Okay, thank you for that, Sarah. There you go, Rick. Jerry, are we going to France to explore this possibility? I think Paris, some nice food, get in touch with the culture, start Expats France.
Yeah, maybe Cannes or maybe Saint-Tropez. Maybe we should check it out there.
All right. Yes.
That's all a possibility.
See if Mick wants to come with us.
The truth is that if anyone is interested in starting for Expats France, they should talk to us, and we will talk all about franchise. We'll be delighted to have that discussion.
Excellent. Franchise France. Yes, it's very interesting, isn't it? Franchisina,
Yeah.
all the connections. It's a sign. It's a sign. How many days? Thank you, Jerry. How many days exactly for an 8-month requirement of being in Portugal for residency from Kathy? I'm guessing that's coming back to you, Carolina. Again, that one. I don't quite understand the question. How many days exactly for 8-month requirement? Okay, so yeah, which is it 8 30-day months, 8 31-day months? I think that may be the gist of the question there.
Is it because of the 6 months in a row or the 8 altogether of the restriction?
I think it probably is. I think it's our favorite. Yes.
Well, great question. On the law, it's not specified. It just verbatim says, but in Portuguese, 6 months in a row or 8 months altogether per the duration of the permit. So, well, I can check, but no one has ever asked me that before. But
Okay.
I
think
would
Kathy,
assume,
yeah, so
like,
Kathy's unnecessarily concerned, possibly.
yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes, but if you are some people travel a lot, so in that case I suggest keeping on your notes, or if you are really organized, an Excel of all the travels that you do and with the beginning date and the arrival date, so that you can rest your conscience, because it's very hard that a person exceeds those amounts. It's people that either travel for work or really love vacationing or something like that, but it's not that common. So
Right.
just keep a record and you will see that it seems little timing, but it's a lot.
Yes. Yeah, very good. Okay. That's really helpful. Well, I hope it is to you. Who was that for? That was for Kathy on that. And I think it's very helpful, the advice you give there. It goes a long way, doesn't it? If you've looked like you've done your best to keep records, if you rock up and you think, oh, I think it's about 8 months or whatever, that's not going to work as well potentially as keeping quite strict records of your movements.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, spot on with something Gilda told us several months ago to you, Carolina from Grace. Charlie travels a lot and he's got the records. Yes, so there you go. That's for you, Kathy. Good idea to keep the records. Exactly what Gilda and Carolina are saying about that. Hopefully that satisfies that particular inquiry, unless you had a different reason for asking that. Jerry, you've got a question for Carolina.
Yes, please, Carolina. I just wondered, something that came up last week when Gilda was on. Is there any update on this problem about health cards for people wanting to travel in Europe?
Yes. So the normal way of doing things would require a NISS, so a number of Social Security, to acquire a European health card. But we have been trying different ways with people that did not mind to be our guinea pigs.
Yes.
Yeah. So we found a way to go around it and do it, still manage to get the health card without the Social Security number. So for those people that are interested, reach out to us. We are able to do it. As long as they have their residency here in Portugal, we can do it.
Very good. Thanks, Jerry. Thanks, Carolina.
That's really good news. Thank you. Thank you very much, Carolina. I'll pass that on to some people. Thank you.
Thank
Right,
you.
forgive me. Oh, I found some more questions here, and it's the way that the Zoom manages the chat. So forgive me if I haven't asked you a question and you're feeling overlooked. I really don't mind you sending me a direct message or just putting it in the chat again. For example, Stephen asked some time ago, I understand I would need health insurance in Portugal, probably for you, Nuno. How does this work with having an S1, as I thought this covered any health expenses? I don't know what an S1 is, I'm afraid. Can you help with that, Nuno?
Yeah, I believe that the S1 is the form that provides access to the SNS, to the public system.
Oh, okay.
I think that it is. So this is the problem that we talk about every Thursday and that we see almost all day, every day in the Portuguese news, which is, yes, in theory, everyone that is residency in Portugal has free access to healthcare. But we know that this is only in theory. There are medical specialties with more than 2-year-long waiting lists for surgeries. To get an appointment, a doctor appointment, we could wait 4 or 6 months. And there are more than 1 million, I believe that 1.5 million people without a public general practitioner.
Right.
So this is all the problems that we face when we are trying to access to the public system. Yes, sometimes it works and sometimes it works pretty well, but the nowadays experience is not good. And comparing to the private system, yes, we can get the doctor appointment on the same day and the surgery just a couple of days ahead, depending on the doctor, the surgeon, the availability of the hospital and so on. But this is why we Portuguese people, we invest on having a health insurance policy instead of rely on the public system.
Okay, thanks for that, Nuno. Because yeah, I think I misunderstood the context of the question there. Stephen, I thought you were asking in terms of visa requirements, but I think it's the hybrid approach that Nuno's talking about there. It does make sense to have the backup of a private system or private cover as well. Thanks, Nuno, for taking that. And there was a question on YouTube which seems to have disappeared, but the gist of it, as I recall, was somebody wanting to come to Portugal to do a graduate degree, a postgrad degree, I think, and was asking if that they can't speak Portuguese, and would that be a problem? I'm guessing it might be. And really, I suppose the question is what to do in that situation. They should do an intensive Portuguese course and then consider perhaps whether they feel up to doing a graduate course here in Portugal. I don't know who might want to take that. What would you recommend, those of you who know the university system here? I think there's a polite.
So there are. Please go ahead, Jerry.
All I was going to say was I think there are actually some courses, postgraduate courses in English.
Are they really?
And can be studied and taken in English.
Well, there you go. Right, whoever asked that then on YouTube that's a great answer for you. That's very generous, I think, of the Portuguese academia to offer that.
Yes, let me just add that yes, there are. Give a look at 2 specific universities, Nova, Nova, Nova University, and the Católica University. They have courses fully in English.
And that's presumably with Nova, for example, it's a business qualification, and that I guess English is seen as the international business language, perhaps. Yeah,
yes.
I'm not sure about the Catholic University, but okay, that's really helpful. Thanks, Jerry. Thanks, Nuno, on that, and I hope that was helpful to the person who asked that over on YouTube. We'll come to our cultural question and fruit to conclude, but not just yet. We've got a few more minutes to deal with any questions that you are reluctant to ask. You're not sure if you're asking a silly question. No such thing as a silly question apart from when I ask them here on the Dream Team session. So if you're a bit embarrassed about what you want to ask, just go ahead. You can even say you're asking for a friend or direct message me and I'll ask it without naming and shaming you. Glad to do that. Let's get the information out there to help people to move to Portugal this evening on the Dream Team. Not connected in any way. This is Kathy adding to there was a question here that's moved again. Oh yeah, Jill adding to Kathy's question. Sorry, Zoom moves these on and I sometimes lose track of them. Won't the need to manually track days change with the digital passport control starting maybe? Yeah, good parentheses there in November. Will the new system track your days in the Schengen zone? Probably will, Carolina, right? But we've no news on that yet, have we?
Yeah, no news on that.
Right.
November is very nearby and still nothing.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm sure Portugal is late on that. So
Well, the last thing we heard on that was that the EU were going to fine or punish Portugal for not being ready to do that. Is that correct? Is that how you remember it as well?
as I've heard that as well, but well, I
Yes.
think on a few matters, Portugal rather prefers to pay the fine than fulfill the mandatory
Yes.
requisite with the European Union. So we will see.
What comes to mind for me in those moments is the film 300, where Gerard Butler says, "This is Sparta, not Spartan. This is Sparta, and we'll pay the fine. Thank you very much." That may be what happens, and that's maybe what the EU are afraid of. Okay, thank you, Jill, for that. And I think you're right, Jill, but we've no idea whether that's coming in. And you would be right, I think, in assuming that digital controls on the border will certainly manage people's movements a lot more effectively than are currently measured. Right, Debbie's in touch with you there, Carolina, just so you know. And Akash is asking, is there any list of courses anywhere that are approved by the government that also allows you to apply for residency, for a residency card from inside Portugal, not the study visa from outside, based on approved list of courses or list of approved universities or combination of both? So residency based on studying in Portugal. Can you help some more with that, Carolina?
So there is a possibility of something called direct residence permit for studying, which is skipping the visa and going directly to residence permit here in Portugal. But that is for exceptional cases, and only courses in a specific characteristics are allowed. But yes, that is a possibility, but we cannot make that as a rule of thumb for well, people that don't fulfill that exception.
Case by
So
case.
and yes, and the course needs to be some specific type of number of years and the category. So yeah, it's a very specific option.
Very good. Sorry, I'm smiling because I'm seeing some of the other comments that are going on in the chat now, with Portugal's response to the EU being a bit salty. Daniel, very good. Saltiest Portuguese. God, that's salty, says Grace. You've got to soak it for 2 days, which I don't think the EU can do to Portugal. That'll be against the law. Right. Debbie, update. Thank you, Carolina, on that. For you, Akash. Debbie, update on last week's question about terms of responsibility for a friend. They have secured a lease through Casa Portuguesa. Excellent news, and have their VFS appointment tomorrow morning. They are premium members and listen to last week's Dream Team recording. We're famous, everybody. People are listening to recordings of us speaking on a Thursday night. That's fantastic. What a great update, Debbie. Thank you very much for that. Quickie then for Peder. Will Schengen survive with Germany putting controls on all her borders? Is the question being asked on the radio here in Wales. Wow. These are amazing times here in Europe and around the world politically. Ross Cooper, I'm a UK national with a Portuguese residency. With the new digital entry system being introduced, will I need to apply for the ETIAS when traveling into the rest of Europe? What do you think there, Carolina? So UK national with Portuguese residency. Yes, that doesn't assure you residency or long stays anywhere else, does it?
Portuguese residency allows you to live in Portugal.
Yes.
Not
right.
in Europe, not in the European Union, not in the Schengen area.
Right.
But the general rules apply. So for the nationality, and so yeah.
So for Ross, yes, up to 90 days in other parts of Europe. And a total of wherever you go. Okay, that'll be 90 days within any other country within the border, as it were. Ross, hope that helps. With these border changes, would we be tagged as leaving Portugal to say just cross to Spain? We don't know, do we? And when you go there now, as some of our panelists do more often than others, it doesn't look very likely, does it, when you drive past an old brick building or even cross a bridge, not by foot in some places. It looks unlikely, but we just don't know at this stage, do we, Carolina?
We don't. And are they gonna check all the borders or just by plane? Are
Yes.
they gonna? We don't know. Yeah.
No, that's right. It seemed like a good idea when a bureaucrat somewhere wrote it down. We'll just let them deal with that later on. Okay, Elizabeth, thank you. Hi again. Follow up for Pedro. If I become a tax resident in September, update my NIF with my Portuguese address and apply for the old NHR with my global income earned for the entire year, will my global income earned for the entire year be taxable if I spend more than 182 days in the country, Pedro?
Yeah. Hi, Elizabeth. I didn't understand the difference between this question and the last one. I think it's the global income. So, but let's do it step by step. So, if you update your address with your NIF with the Portuguese address, that means that you are submitting your change of address. You are changing your address voluntarily to Portugal. Okay, so you are residents from that moment onwards. Okay, so after that, it doesn't matter the 182 days because you are deemed resident. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you spend more or less of half a year in Portugal. Having that said, what I said back then is that whatever your earnings were before you changed your date, you updated your address in the Portuguese tax authorities, does not concern, it will not be taxed or subject to taxation in Portugal. So only after that date until December 31. Regarding this question about the global income, yes, it will attract your global income to Portugal. So we will have to declare the worldwide income in Portugal. But then there are a lot of tax reliefs from double taxation agreements between Portugal and your previous country, where the source of your income. And also, if you are, given the fact that you are NHR, you will get a lot of exemptions or tax reductions. So
thank you, Pedro. There you go.
I don't know if I clarified the question, but just let me know.
All right, and you can get in touch with Pedro. As I say, I get it, says Elizabeth. Thank you, Pedro. So there you go. That's sorted out. Another satisfied customer for the Dream Team. I need you to do this very quickly tonight, Dream Team. It is I think in England, as a poet, autumn is described as the season of mists and mellow fruitfulness. It's the same here in Portugal. This time of year is a bit misty, and the apples and the pears here on the Silver Coast in those orchards are coming off the trees. They're being sent all around Portugal and the rest of the world, I think. It's a fabulous time for eating Portuguese fruit, learning about Portuguese fruit, which is scientifically proven to be at least twice as sweet as you're used to if you come from the UK, for example, or colder countries. Portuguese fruit is fantastic. Sarah might attest to that when we ask her this question as well. So what is your favorite Portuguese fruit that you think our community should try here? Carolina, what do you like at this time of year?
Well, I love black cherries.
That's earlier though, isn't it?
Yes, it's a few months earlier, and this year was not a good one because of the rains. So the cherries were not amazing. But regarding the ananas, the pineapple, I wanted to say something because last year I went to Azores where they are produced, and I visited I don't know, the places where they plant them. And they were very specific about the way that you have to eat them.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's like you have to turn them around for like an hour or two so that the juices from the bottom like go in the whole thing.
Yes.
And then once that happens, you need to slice it like if it's like a melon. So like from top to bottom to make 4 big slices.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then take the inner part, that more harder
the
center.
Yeah.
Yeah, you take that away, and then you take the outside, the skin, and then you eat it.
This is turning into a job. Right, okay, but okay, I'm prepared to try. It smells so good, I can't wait. Thank you. So black cherries, and you enjoyed it, did you, when you finally got to eat the Azorian ananas? Was it delicious?
Yes, I did. It's so sweet. I don't know.
Fantastic.
When they come to the mainland, they usually are picked up more ripe, but there they were amazing.
Wonderful. Thanks, Carolina. Daniel, your favorite Portuguese fruit?
Well, the one that you're holding probably took 2 years to be grown into that. So they take quite a long time to grow into that stage.
Right.
But my favorite fruit of this time is figs. It's usually around the end of August. So I would say figs. They're quite sweet.
Lovely. What a great suggestion. Thank you very much indeed. Getting well there. Still warm from the tree. That's the best way to eat minute from Grandma's garden. Fantastic. Thank you, Daniel. Nunu, what about you?
Oh, so I don't know if I have a preference because I just love everything that is natural, grains, the veg, and all the fruits. And regarding fruits, just as a suggestion, on the supermarket, you will find the banana and the Madeira's banana, the banana
The
of
little
Madeira.
ones. Yes.
Could be big, also big.
Yeah.
You can find the little ones or big.
Yeah.
It's like 2 or 3 times the price of the other one.
Right.
But it's completely different, the taste. So try it.
And is everybody getting this Portuguese pride about their food and fruit? I'm really feeling it tonight. Pedro, what about you? Thanks, Nunu.
Well, I'm from the area of Santarém, so my fruit is melon, and it's also a summer fruit. So I love the melon. I think it's in English, it's melon.
Yes,
I love melon, but in the north where I live right now, we have some type of melon which is casca de carvalho. It says it's a greenish. It's like a champagne melon. It's spicy and you feel it itching on your mouth.
Wow, I'm so glad I asked. Fantastic.
Yes,
Sarah,
you can only find it near. So north of Porto on the littoral area. Okay.
Wow,
So
it probably likes a tougher soil up there, doesn't it? Wow. Jerry, Pedro, thank you so much for that. That suggestion. Never heard of that before. Jerry, have you got something to add?
Well, I just wanted to challenge Daniel because I recently learned that figs are basically have dead wasps inside them.
Nothing wrong with that.
And that's the black part that you're eating. So I don't know whether you knew that, Daniel, but that put me off figs for life.
Daniel?
I was saying free protein. What's wrong with that?
There you go. Jerry, there you go.
It's extra protein. Jerry, that's why there's a debate about whether vegetarians can eat pigs or not.
Oh my goodness, the plot thickens. Okay, we have to ask, were you writing these down, Sarah? And do you have a favorite in your short time that you've been here?
I'm traumatized now because I was going to say figs.
Right.
I've had some figs recently and now this is
Jerry. Okay.
Sorry, Sarah.
Yes,
sorry.
We definitely need a counsellor after the show.
Oh, yeah.
If you've been affected by any of the fruits spoken about during the show, there's a number to ring. It's Jerry's number, in fact.
Yeah, Sarah, you know when you eat a fig and there's you've got a little kind of black bit in your tooth or something. Guess.
All right, thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Sarah. Our favourite kind of fruit.
Welcome.
Favorite fruit is grapes, and that's because they're stored for a little while in vats, and they go kind of sweet and then very I don't know, very attractive to drink. Astrid, that leads us nicely into next week's webinar, I think.
Thank you, Carl. Next week, next Thursday evening at 7:30, we've got a very, very special webinar. It's the first time we've done something like this. So we're actually doing a virtual wine tasting or virtual wine region tour of Portugal. So it's with the experts at Wow Wines, the wine school there. They're going to be taking us on a tour around the Douro and the Alentejo and various areas in the country to experience the different wines. So I think it'd be a fun one.
Looking forward to that. Sorry to keep you, everybody. It's 10:05. Don't like to do that, but it's been a fascinating conversation. Great answers from the dream team. Thank you all, and especially for your favorite fruits at the end there. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye for now. See you next Thursday. Sarah, you okay?